Morning, this is Liam from Ainsworth Body Science. Again, we're on for another video blog, and hope you're all well. Hope you're all still coping with the restrictions that are on us and the lockdown, and hope we're not too stressed, which is the subject of today's vlog. So it's going to be stress in the immune system we're going to talk about today a little bit. So let's crack into it. So stress, how are we all feeling? I'm assuming life's changed quite a little bit for a lot of us, and that might stress you out. So, you know, stress is a natural part of life. I'm going to go into how natural it should be and what's not natural about some kind of stresses that we've got in our lives. And that stress is not necessarily a bad thing. It is a good thing in the right doses and the right type of stress. It's what our bodies should be having and adapting to. So that's the way stress works on the body. Every organism in the world really has stress on it at some point and adapts to cope with that stress, and that's how life happens. Having no stress in your life at all would be a bad thing, and your body wouldn't adapt as well, and there wouldn't be as fit and healthy as it should be. There's 6 types of stress, and for anyone who wants to read anything about health and fitness from a starting point of view, How to Eat, Move and Be Healthy by Paul Chek, that book resource. So if you want to get it, it's about 20-25 quid off Amazon or thereabouts if you can get hold of one, and it's well worth a read. So and he delves into stress quite well and explains it very well in that book, so that's a good reference to use. Anyway, 6 types of stress. What are they? Well, number one, which I know quite a lot about, is physical stress, and it's my job. Most fitness trainers will tell you the same thing. It's what we do to our clients. We put you in physical stress, and we do it on purpose, and sometimes get a bad reputation for it. But the reason why we do physical stress to our clients is we know that the right type of physical stress in the right amounts to the right person will have a really positive effect on them. So that's a good thing. Adversely, everything that is good can have a bad effect if it's done incorrectly. So the poor application of physical stress, i.e. overtraining, too much. I see a lot of guys and girls running outside at the moment, which is great, but if it's done badly, and you shouldn't do it, or you've got dodgy knees or a bad back, or you're too overweight to run and it hurts everything, and you've not done it before, or you've done too much too soon, that's negative stress on the body and negative physical stress on the body. So there's a good starting example of positive stress, physical stress that we can do in this great studio here, that we've got all these horrible devices to make you feel better in essence. Or you can do it badly, where the application is bad and the result is pain and more stress on the body. So that's one to keep in mind from a negative point of view. Overtraining really doesn't do you much good at all. Physical stress is number one. Secondly, we've got chemical stress. Now, chemical stress is interesting. You've got chemicals in your body, and these chemicals cause hormonal changes, and they cause great positive effects in the body when used in the right way. And that's involved in physical stress, as we said at number one, and also the things that you put in your body, your nutrition and things like that, and how your body reacts. Gaining the best and the optimal performance from the chemicals that are in your body is positive stress. The negative side of that is there's lots of chemicals out there at the moment in the world. There's sprays and perfumes and soaps and surfaces that we touch, exhaust fumes, all that kind of stuff is negative chemical stress, and your body gets stressed out from it. So there's positives, which is the chemicals in your system that can be harnessed and used in a really positive way for your body, and there's negative chemical stress, which is environmental chemicals that are forced on you sometimes, and you breathe in or you touch or whatever it might be. So again, positive and negative stresses. Electromagnetic stress, I mentioned this in the previous blog about sleep. Electromagnetic stress is, again, there's positive electromagnetic stress, and that's sunlight, things like that, vitamin D, great. The right amounts of it can do you the world of good, particularly for your immune system. So the right amounts of vitamin D are great. Get out there, get some sunshine, particularly now that it's going to be a decent week of weather. So get out there, go for the walks, get some sunlight on your skin. Too much of that, too much sunlight, for instance, burn you and cause a negative effect on your body. It's the same with the blue light that we talked about in the previous vlog for sleeping. It can affect you negatively. It's a negative stress on the body, particularly before you go to sleep. So again, positives and negatives of electromagnetic stress. Mental stress, big one. Mental stress. Most people have some mental stress in their life. I pretty much don't know anybody who hasn't got any mental stress in their life. I know I have. I've got 2 daughters. It's mental stress. If you have mental stress and you overcome something, set yourself a challenge, achieve something in the gym that you've not done before, that's positive mental stress on the body, setting yourself a goal and overcoming it. It's great. Negative mental stress comes from overworking, stress from life, stress from job, stress from marriage and relationships, all that kind of stuff. Negative mental stress. So again, positives, negatives, and it's harnessing them in the right way. We've then got nutritional stress. Eating well, eating correctly. And I've talked about this in previous vlogs on a very basic level. How do you feel when you eat? Getting the proportions right, getting the types of foods right with your proteins and your carbohydrates and your fats, and making yourself feel better. Nutritional, positive stress on your body. Negative stress is if you overeat, eat the wrong things, undereat as well. Big negative stress on the body. So, it's finding that balance again of how your body responds and how your body feels. There's positives and there's negatives to nutritional stress. And the last one is thermal stress. And thermal stress, when you go outside and it's cold weather, you wrap yourself up, you put a nice coat on, you keep your body temperature regulated. That's the way your body likes it. It likes to be regulated. So too hot, bad. Too cold, bad. For any prolonged period of time. For short periods of time, I would recommend plunge pools and cold showers and things like that for short periods of time to release stress on the body, to help your body repair. It's the same with heat. If you've got too much heat in your body and your body temperature rises too much, again, that's negative thermal stress on the body. It's all about regulation and keeping your body in that middle zone for these stresses all the time. All about the positive stress, not veering off into the negative stresses. So you've got physical, chemical, electromagnetic, mental, nutritional, and thermal stress. Okay? So what happens if you get too much of those stresses or it's mismanaged in your life and you are getting too much mental stress, not enough sleep, you're getting the wrong types of food, nutritional stress is out of balance, you're working in a factory and there's exhaust fumes coming all over the place and you're getting chemical stress. What happens to the system? What happens to the body? For those of you who know me and for those of you who train with me and those who've been following the vlogs regularly, you know that I like to go down the natural path and how we should be reacting to things and how naturally your body should be reacting to things. You will have heard of fight or flight, and it's a phrase that was coined many, many years ago about how the human body reacts to stress. And, if we were to meet a lion, in the Serengeti plain and the lion's going to chase us, we would get fight or flight response. And what it means is you either stay and you fight or you leave and you run off. And that's it. And at that moment in time, your body is under a tremendous amount of stress. Survival depends on it, this stress that the body is under and the decision that you make. Now, I'm a pretty fit guy, but I'm not going to take on a lion. So I'm flight and I'm away. And when I do that and I get away from the lion, my body then responds by reducing the amount of stress, reducing the amount of cortisol in my system, and things go back to normal. And instead of my stress response going up, it starts to drop down, and I get back to a little bit of normality, and my body responds in a positive way because of that. I get stressed, I overcome the stress, and I come down. The problem is that the 21st century, number one, we're not going to be running away from lions. Number two is we've got mini lions all throughout the day. From when we get up in the morning, the alarm clock is a mini lion, and it's going to stress us out when it beeps and wakes us up from our sleep. And from then on, for a lot of people in life, you've got all those stresses that I spoke about before throughout the day. So you're constantly on an up, and you're constantly higher than you should be on your stress levels. And the problem is they come thick and fast throughout the day. You go to work, you're drinking coffee, your nutrition might be off, you haven't slept well, you've got stress at work because of pressure and all the rest of it that we get from work, you've got financial pressure, you go home, you've got relationship pressure of doing the right thing and not doing the right thing and all the rest of it, you've got kids barking at you all the time and blah, 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 blah. Life just happens. And what happens is you never get a chance for that stress release during the day. So you are constantly in fight mode all the time, and you're constantly battling all the time to release the stress, and it never happens. And then you go to sleep, you might not sleep very well. There's reasons why, I talked about it in the previous vlog, and you wake up in the morning and you're stressed again. And this cycle continues and continues and continues. So going back to what I said about the six stresses the six types of stress at the beginning, it's getting the right balance of those stressors in your body, not too much and not too little in a lot of them as well, and staying within that band, your body will respond positively. So in a very brief nutshell, that's stress and how our bodies are coping with it or not coping with it on a daily basis. So what happens when you get too much negative stress in your life? Well, your cortisol levels are elevated. What that means is your stress hormone is elevated in your system. And what happens then is if we don't get a release from that, we don't get away from the lion, and we don't get that drop of cortisol level, then it suppresses your repair and immune system, and it represses it and represses it. And if this is done continually, you know, you're always on the top end of that stress. That cortisol is always high, and it never really drops down where it should drop down to. Then immune dysfunction and repair dysfunction will happen in the body, and over a long period of time, this can become chronic, and it can become a real problem and end in disease, illness, premature death. I mean, really seriously, it can have that big an effect on the system if it's elevated over a long, long period of time. If you're 30 years in a massively stressful job and a stressful marriage and you're eating the wrong things, you will die earlier. It's as simple as that, because that cortisol level never gets a chance to drop down. So we need to keep our stressors in the positive side of things, the things that I mentioned before, the right type of exercise, the right type of food, the right sleep, okay, the right type of chemical response in your system, you know, the right type of thermal stress on your system, not the negative stuff. And I know it's easier said than done, and I know it's a huge subject, but we need to keep that cortisol response lower in our system in order to get to our optimal levels of performance. This is what we're all about at the studio. This is what the trainers do. We make sure that our clients can train at the right level for them. Not everybody can do the same thing, and not everyone's expected to do the same thing. We choose the exercises wisely. Some clients don't even come into exercise. They come in to release cortisol in other ways. You know, they can see one of our masseurs, our sports therapists, relax for a little bit, have a chat with a trainer. It's not all about doing the physical work. And it's that balance that we need to strike in our lives in order to keep those cortisol levels lower and stop fighting the lion all the time. Any questions on that, please send them to info@ainsworthbodyscience.co.uk. Check out the vlogs, check out the website. We're here to help. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope our immune systems are going to be as functional as we can possibly be for the next kind of few weeks before we start going back, because that's important. If we start going back out of lockdown, our immune system needs to be as high as it possibly can to fight off any viruses that might come our way. Stay safe, and I'll see you very soon.